Stephanie McMahon returning to the WWE, a top WWE star leaving the company. Guys, we got massive topics. It's WrestleMania week. Timestamps in the description down below. We are talking about WWE on Peacock because Nick Khan was on the herd and he was talking about the idea of WWE copying UFC with their pay-per-view model. This is a terrible idea. I am not going to sit here and watch other people's pockets, but what I will do is sit here and tell you that copying the UFC pay-per-view distribution model with ESPN Plus is absolutely a stupid idea, and I'm going to explain why. So first, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Tony Khan and AEW don't have a streaming network, okay? And if you look at AEW, they provide TV episodes every single week, and then they have 4 to 5 pay-per-views per year, and they charge you $49.99, I think is the price for their pay-per-views, right? So at the end of the day, you pay for that 4 times a year. It's not as big of a deal. WWE, on the other hand, with Nick Khan, have a pay-per-view distribution model where you pay $7 to $10 a month and you get a whole bunch of content because of Peacock. You get the WWE network stuff, you get movies and television shows, and you get sports. You get a whole bunch of stuff included for this price. It's a banger of a deal. And WWE's premium live events are included in this. Now, keep in mind, when WWE originally did the WWE Network for $9.99, this was also something that was extremely valuable because you had all of the WWE content plus free pay-per-views. Now, with that being said, WWE does far more pay-per-views than AEW. So AEW's model works differently than WWE. UFC, on the other hand, does $7 to $10 a month for ESPN Plus. Then you got to pay $74.99 for a UFC pay-per-view. And trust me when I tell you, that is the worst pay-per-view model ever, but ultimately at the end of the day, it works for the UFC. However, the UFC has never really given away free pay-per-views every single month, and WWE has. And WWE has done it for like 10 to 15 years now at this point. I don't even know how long it's been, but it's been a really long time, and my point that I'm making is that WWE has conditioned their audience to believe that pay-per-views value are within that price range. So if WWE were to start selling pay-per-views every single month on top of a fee for Peacock, I'm telling you right now, the reaction is not going to be good. It's not about whether you can afford it or not afford it. The world, the economy, things are changing drastically for people. People's incomes aren't the same as it was before. Inflation exists. These are things that people are looking at economy-wise. And on top of that, WWE introducing this at a time where their product is red hot, that's great. But I still think you have people who are trying to understand what the next step may be for the company, but they don't know because a sale hasn't been announced. We don't know what's going on with Vince McMahon and his involvement. I'm not necessarily sure that this is a good idea. Now, with that being said, I do want to say something that is very important. Free pay-per-views every month makes a lot of sense, and I think it should be continuously part of the WWE distribution model. I think it adds value to Peacock. However, if you are the WWE and you want to charge money for WrestleMania, I would be okay with that. If you're the WWE, if you're NBC and you want to charge money for the Royal Rumble, I would be okay with that. I would be okay with you doing the big 4 pay-per-views. But if you're going to have a whole bunch of pay-per-views that are just rematches and just filler matches, just like it was in years past, I say no. Also, I want to make it very clear that if WWE were to charge for the big 4, or if they were to charge for WrestleMania, depending on what they charge, could also be a bad idea. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. But there's more from Nick Khan. Nick Khan talking about the creative process. He says that WWE is months in advance, months in advance. He said, if you said now, where's the WWE creative team with their process? They are months ahead of WrestleMania. And this is a very interesting topic, considering the fact that there are a lot of dirt sheets right now with this agenda claiming that Vince McMahon is back on the product. He's back in creative. Now, first and foremost, I am not going to keep talking about Vince McMahon in creative because until Vince McMahon is confirmed to actually be in creative, I really don't give a shit. If he has given his input in creative, that is expected. He is the CEO of the company. He is the man who found this company entirely. So at the end of the day, when I look at this situation with Vince and WWE creative, I expect him to have some sort of input. I expect him to want Omos and Lesnar. I expect to have him make some of these decisions. But when you look at WWE storytelling and when you look at WWE's matches being 15 to 20 minutes, and when you see that WWE is continuing to tease things in the background, it is very evident that Vince McMahon has zero creative input in that regard. So I think there is a little bit of influence from Vince McMahon. Of course, that should be expected. It is his company at the end of the day, whether you like it or not. But also, Triple H did publicly say that Vince McMahon might be giving him some stuff to work with, and they're gonna, he's gonna have the final say. He'll figure it out. He'll take bits and pieces. Guess what, guys? WWE's at the very best it's ever freaking been. It's so easy to sit there and point fingers when things don't go right and say it's Vince McMahon, but that is not fair. That's unacceptable behavior. And at the end of the day, if WWE is truly months and months ahead in the creative process, good for them, because there has been lots of issues in the past with Vince McMahon where WWE was constantly changing their mind on things, and you could tell WWE is way more polished right now. They are planning things way more thoroughly. And on top of that, the product has improved so much more. Now I want to turn our attention to Logan Paul. He says on Impulsive that his contract ends at WrestleMania, which is different from everything that people believed before, which is that he would be, essentially with WWE until 2024. In regards to Logan Paul and his contract situation, there's really not much for me to really say other than I think he has done a really good job for himself in the WWE. I think Logan Paul has done an amazing job in the WWE. Not a good job, an amazing job. Logan Paul has transitioned very well into WWE. And honestly, I don't know what to expect next with him, but I want to see WWE and Logan Paul continue this partnership. I think there's a lot of potential for him in the WWE. I think Logan Paul is kind of in a situation right now too, where realistically, I know sometimes he talks about the boxing thing, but I just can't understand why somebody would want to risk their life to be a pro boxer, get hit in the head a million times, and not do the WWE instead. Because at least with the WWE, there is a lot of risk with doing WWE. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that there isn't risk. There is a lot of risk being a pro wrestler. Logan Paul learned this firsthand. He got injured in his second match in the WWE. There's a lot of risk, but also getting pounded in the head with boxing gloves 100 to 150 times in a fight. That is just it's a no-brainer. I would choose WWE. The money's better, in my opinion. The money's better because at least with WWE, you sign that contract, you're guaranteed your matches, you're guaranteed your money, right? With boxing, you might have to pull out from a fight. You might not be able to make your fight. There's a lot of risk going into boxing and promoting a boxing fight. If you've ever looked at how people lose money in a boxing fight, it happens quite often, actually. So I think it's just a less risk, but also it's the thing that he's the best at, right? Logan Paul could be a podcaster, he could be a YouTuber, he could be a content creator, he could be an internet celebrity, he could be a celebrity, it could be whatever it is. He can make music if he wants. But to be honest with you, every endeavor that Logan Paul has ever had publicly, whether he was making diss songs on YouTube or making, videos on YouTube with pranks and messing with people and whatever it may be, this is the thing that he's good at. This is his calling. This is what Logan Paul is actually talented at. Now, I'm not sitting here saying Logan Paul is the greatest wrestler in the world, but I'm saying that Logan Paul is a lot better than a lot of people in the WWE and AEW, and just that comes from naturally understanding how to react. And guess what? It takes time to get better and stuff, but it's not only his in-ring skills that are good, it's his on-the-mic skills. It's the fact that, sometimes he's cringy, but guess what? It does. Logan Paul's a cringy dude. So in a way, it's almost authentic. At the end of the day, ultimately, Logan Paul leaving the WWE would be very, 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 very bad decision. But also at the same time, too, how interested is WWE keeping him? Do they feel like they got the value out of him? Do they want to keep him? What do they want to do? I would like to see him wrestle more people. I would like to see him at SummerSlam against John Cena. We'll see how things go. I'll keep you updated. Guys, there's topics that are being brought up on the internet. Stephanie McMahon returning to the company. This one is super interesting because WWE, obviously, we know is for sale. Now there's rumors online, and this is where things are getting really interesting. There's reports from numerous sources who spoke to PW Insider Elite that rumored buyers of the WWE have shown interest in bringing back Stephanie McMahon. And obviously, that makes a lot of sense. Stephanie McMahon and Vince McMahon was reportedly a interesting relationship that potentially didn't work out too well backstage. And of course, when I hear about these he say, she say reports, I think they're all pretty garbage in my opinion, because he say, she say in the game of life, it never works out good for anybody. This person said that person said that. But anytime somebody goes out there and tries to smear Stephanie or Vince based on how they work together backstage, again, you're not backstage. I'm not backstage. I can't sit here and tell you how they truly are backstage together. But if those reports were true and they had a hard time working together, WWE going to sell to another company that has to make the choice. Do we keep Stephanie or do we keep Vince? I think that's an easy decision. I bring in Stephanie. I keep Triple H. If Nick Khan wants to work in WWE, he can work in WWE. The rumor, the idea, the belief was that he was always brought into WWE to help use his master negotiating skills to eventually sell the WWE. Once WWE sells, would he want to stick around or will he cash out? I think that's a good question. But I look at WWE, I look at William Regal, I look even at Bruce Pritchard. If you like or hate Bruce Pritchard, it don't matter. Right now, he's part of the team that is creating compelling television. I say keep him. There's a lot of people there that I would keep. And if I'm buying the WWE, I want to make sure I keep the very best at who's running it. Because if I'm NBC, if I'm Endeavor, if I'm in Disney, if I'm all of these companies and I'm looking at buying WWE, and the first thing that I want to do is put a whole bunch of old-ass people in suits who don't work in the wrestling business, it ain't going to work out for you. I'm just being honest with you. It ain't going to work out for you. Don't waste your money. You're going to fail. You are going to fail because the wrestling industry is, even though it has a lot of similar tangibles to other industries, it is not the same industry. It's a whole different beast. And I'm telling you firsthand that bringing in people who actually know the industry can work out for you. Look at what happened with Impact Wrestling. The company had Billy Corgan and Dixie Carter, and just things were a mess. Then you have Anthem come in, a company who didn't have experience with pro wrestling, but they made the decision to bring in Don Callis and Scott D'Amore. Now, years later, look at this company. They're killing it. And just look at AEW, for example. Whether you like or hate their creative, at the end of the day, this is a company with somebody who truly loves pro wrestling, so he is trying to look out for a pro wrestling fan. You cannot deny these things. So if Disney, Endeavor, NBC, it don't matter which company it is. I don't care what company is trying to open up that checkbook and sign billions. If you aren't keeping the people that keep this well-oiled machine running, then clearly at the end of the day, you're willing to throw in your money for stupid things because that's a stupid idea. Guys, this is The Angle Show, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.